That's what you do. You buy these plays that cost money and make a difference in it. But we never do that.
Never complains, gets up, gets on, with a smile on his face.
You just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the truth. If you haven't seen it before, please watch the first two episodes, the second series.
We are on the site of the castle,
and it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
Good morning. I'm awfully sorry about this. Can only stay on half an hour because we've got Jason coming down to sort everything out for this watch along this afternoon, which is good. So anyway, I'm only on half an hour. Just to tell you about a few films and that, you know, which, in my opinion, is you know, must sees because it's one of the greats. It's the late Gene Hackman. He's in them, you know, every one of them. And one of them's The Conversation, cracking film. It's a cracking film. And it's about people going around, you know, listening, government agents, CIA, you know, the usual CIA stuff. But it's good. Hackman's great in it. Hackman's great, as usual. Then you've got Heist. Heist is a smashing film. It really is a smashing film. It's about a fella who he owns a boat on the harbour, you know, little harbour, Boston Harbour. But he's a thief. And he's got a little crew, and it's a really, really good film. And his boss in it is none other than Mr. DeVito, Danny DeVito. Sam Rockwell's in it. A fella named Delroy Lindo, he's in it. And there's a girl, and I've never seen her before. I don't think I've ever seen her since, but she's good as well. She's good. It's really good, honestly. So if you fancy that, watching that, it's really good, honestly. It really is. Do you ever remember this? The Warriors? That was an unusual film that, you know, they're just trying to get home from to their territory. That's all I remember. I've watched it, you know, I did watch it. Not recently, I watched it years ago, but it's a good film. It's a good cult film, as they say, and they have to battle the way to get home, if you know what I mean. Other gangs. It's good. Edward. Slot started the same 11 5 times in 44 games and took clock over 400 to do around the same. The stat is off Sky. I don't watch them, you know, to be honest. But, you know, We can't complain, can we? Only that I just hope that it don't blow up. Can't see us still doing that, blowing up. Albeit we were awful the other night. First half, second half, not too bad. And we won. I've just got up, you know. I've only got up. Sorry, Frank, off topic. Doesn't matter. And Klopp rotated more. Klopp rotated more, but slot style seems to be working. That was the same starting 11 6 times, not 5. Wow. The Warriors coming out to play. Colin, Colin, blimey. Colin F5s. Now, he's a filmmaker, director, actor, writer, everything, this fella. Colin. The Warriors, Frank, some of the worst gangs ever. A gang of roller skaters. Wouldn't last 5 minutes in Breck Road. True enough. Hey, Colin, you want to do a thing about the IRIP gang and the Peanut gang? I could give you the full background of it. The IRIP gang and the Peanut gang. The IRIP gang were from Scotland Road, the Peanut gang were from Park Road. And a fella by the name of Judge Day, Justice Day. A very hard judge. Good. If you ever want the background. Yeah, and the other film about with Gene Hackman is I'll have to be going, you know, to stage so. The other good film is Under Suspicion with Gene Hackman, Monica Bellucci, great Italian actress. And Morgan Freeman. It's really good. It's really good. It's about a murder of 2 kids. Or is it 1? But nevertheless, it's a great film. Watch it. Get it. These are all on YouTube, you know. All on YouTube. And I reckon the best what is it? Vintage one, yeah, we call them vintage. The old black and white ones. Well, 2. One is Rebecca, Larry Olivier D'Havilland, and Sly Boots George Sanders. Brilliant. Love it. There's one, I can't think of it. I can't think of the bloody title, would you believe? John Mills is in it. And it's about a submarine captain. And his wife is just like going out in the morning, you know, down to the dockyard to, you know, to get to his sub. And the unfortunate thing is that his wife says to him, look, she said, look, right when you pack it up, the war's over, we're in peacetime. And he said, he's on an hour, and, as they're talking over breakfast and whatever. And he says, okay. She said, work with me dad. Just go and work. My dad needs you to work for him. So he said to his wife, okay. Goes off to the sub. I forget the title of it. I'll let you know. Honestly, it's well worth a watch, and you get it on YouTube. It's a really good film. And Colin says, we dive at dawn. No, it's not that. It's not that. I'm seeing that's a crack of that. Edward. Great Movies is a good movie channel. And film normally is a good film at night. Yeah. Yeah. And Paul says, what was the Gene Hackman movie with Will Smith? Where government conspiracy, great movie. Yeah, it's a great. I forget. Colin Ives will let us know. Colin Ives will let us know. Yeah. It's a State of the Nation or something like that. Something like that. Enemy of the State, I think it's called. Enemy of the State. And Gary says, Millsy was a good actor. Yes. I'm sure I've seen Paul Bear. Yeah, my old mate. What was the Gene Hackman? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry there. Yeah. Enemy of the State. That is Paul. Sorry, mate. I've just woke up, as you can tell. And Edward says, that's film 4. Yeah. Get some ordinary tides or watch ordinary telly. Ever since the SMO. Ever since then. Marching down the Anfield Road. Callum, greatest cop-out ever in the world. Early morning football news is that George Scott will start in midfield for Gravenberch. Operation Disaster. No, it's good grief. It's got a mad little title. We say that dawn, is it? No, something like, I forget what it was. Something about day, anyway. Something, I forget. I forget. I'll let you all know when we're doing a watch along what it is. And it's well worth a watch. Nigel Patrick's in it. James Height is in it. All the stalwarts. Oh, and Dickie Darling Attenborough. The lovey, he's in it. We've had some great actors, haven't we? Let's be honest. And Edward says, see the Infantino, the leader of FIFA, was kissing up to Trump, saying America could win the World Cup. why I'm laughing is, no matter what comes on here, football comes on, films, no political stuff. Don't forget, how many times has the World Cup been held in America? You thought about that? Paul, nice one. All right, Paul. Edward, enemy of the state is a good one. Yes, it is. What time is the match today? I think it's 3:00. 3:00. Callum, right there. Yeah, 3:00. Mark Simons. Get that petition signed. Yeah, just talk about it, about it. I'm not saying so, about Gibraltar. People saying it should be given back to Spain. Those pirate days are over. That's why we had it. Got it for the empire. We've got no empire now. The only empire we've got in this country is Liverpool Football Club's fan base. I'll be on the watch along, Frank. Thank you. I'll have to wake up. You know what I mean? I had a great sleep, by the way. Morning, Frank, says Leader Wizkid and chat. Listening in whilst I get some, what's that, housework? Have you got the Uber on? You won't be able to listen. Smash the likes for Frankie, thank you. I only need to get to 1K. There's only a few, 1K. Ever seen a film called Morgan, A Suitable Case for Treatment? Yeah. Yeah, it's God, his face is there. Warner. David Warner. Great actor, him, David Warner. And he that he was in loads of things. He never ever got the recognition. And he was great in the original Omen with Gregory the Pet, wasn't he? Edward. Watched a good one last week called Bloodfather with Mel Gibson. And get us on next week. Do you know Mel Gibson, Mark Wahlberg, and Roseanne Barr have broken away from the traditional, well, it's not traditional now, Hollywood. Because remember, I've mentioned this before, remember when I said about Clint Eastwood, and I'm going back a couple of years as well when he said this, and he said, I feel sorry for young actors today with the scripts that they're getting. And it's all the woke. It's all the woke. You've got to go along with all this wokeness. But they broke away from that. And they're going to do films that are not woke. I won't watch them. I don't watch them. The fan base is a massive empire worldwide, says Edward. What can he say? You'll be okay after a proper brewed. I haven't had one. I haven't had nothing. I've taken my tablets, with my little drop of water. But you're right there, Gary. Yeah, as soon as Jason comes, he'll set it out. Then after that, I'll get a shower and that. No, I can't. I'm superstitious. I don't get a shave. So I haven't even washed my face. I haven't even brushed my teeth. I've just jumped up. Just jumped up. Took my tablets. Set this up. Not yet. Making up to the evening because Nina Whiskers said I'm there. To the house. That's it. TVC and football YouTubers Ask Me Anything show when they get a milestone with their subscribers. Would you do one if you get a certain number? Do you know what? Is it like this? Because I don't need. I need to get up there, with the subscribers. But I wouldn't have like Ask Me Anything about football because sometimes, they're just guessing and whatever. I think you've got to be. It's like other players. If anyone asks me, like, they give a name out and they go like that, blah, blah, I'll go, I haven't heard of them. Because that's what happens. I watch Serie A. And the only other players I watch is when they play Liverpool. I can't be bothered with other players. You know what I mean? Obviously I watch the English players and whatever. But the foreign players. Now, I knew that Carabashela because I wanted it. I wanted Carabashela. And I'm still fuming over it simply because we could have had him on the cheap. We could have had him on the cheap. To the contrary of what people will think. He would have been one of the best acquisitions that Liverpool have done in the last few years. I'm telling you now. But you've seen what he was. And I really thought he was going to, to myself, I'm going to get this fella. No, we didn't. He went to Paris Saint-Germain. Which is heartbreaking for me. And he showed you what he could do. See, everything I do, even when I've got guests on, I talk to you because you're commenting and your comments should be read out. People take the time to write out, to put a comment in. So they should be read out. That's in my opinion. Should be read out. But you get others who don't bother reading out. You might just put, here's what they do, look, watch. Like that. They do that. Then do that. That's how long they're up for. Do you think men are demeaned with their woke culture? Yeah, of course they are. Excuse me. Yeah, they are. And he says, Edward, this is, I was thinking about it last night. Of course they are. We're all, everything. And if it carries on, it's changing history. Believe you me, it's changing everything. Really. It's changing everything. And it's fucking wrong. Maybe it's because, is it because we're older, and we're used to things that we grew up with? Is it that? And, people will say, oh, you're out of tune now with things. No, we're not out of thing, out of step, shall we say, with what's going on today. That's just me, though. That's just me. I could say a lot of things, but I've got to be careful of labels, being labelled as such a thing. Very careful. I'm a historian, and it's the way history was in the past, as you know, and people are trying to change it. People are trying to change it. And that's your woe. So work that out, if you know what I mean. Just work that out. Need Gap go back with his goals. Slot said the next 3 games are finals. Well, they've all been finals, haven't they, really? Not the next 3. When we played City, twice they were finals. Remember? Been finals since just before Christmas. Every game. All 3 are winnable. That's it. We can't say much about it, Frank, with the way it is now. Yes. Yeah. Like last night on current affairs, I was fuming. I really was fuming, as you see, because I'm very passionate, about things, and I balance. I can actually say I'm a fairly good historian, and I see things the way they happen. And what I do, and I have always done it, for years I've done it, tear away the propaganda, and there lies the truth. There lies the balance. That's what you've got to do. This country was famous for propaganda, and you can see it today. You can see it today. Like as I said last night, I'll give you a prime example about von der Leyen when she was telling the European Parliament. Now, she's an unelected. Look her up. Look what, I think it was her granddad. Her granddad. Have you ever seen her wear a dress, by the way? She's never wore a dress, that woman. She's always in trousers. Always. But her granddad owns a newspaper, the Journal. And he was the propagandist. His paper was the propagandist for the Nazis, the German Nazis in the war. So, like her, she was saying that the Russian economy, and going back a couple of years ago, the Russian economy is awful. The like their weapons and everything else, technology, and the buying up. This is how pathetic they are. Expected you to believe. Washing machine chips. They're buying up because they've got nothing. They've got nothing. Do you know that? Well, anyway, that's the propaganda that you were getting. And their economy is in tatters. She actually said tatters. I was only watching it yesterday. It's in tatters. Tatters, their economy. Have you guessed whose economy is in tatters? Europe's. It's a very strong economy. It's the Russian economy. Look what they did to Nord Stream. They blew it up. This is how pathetic unelected politicians are. They allowed Joe Biden and his horrible people to blow up Nord Stream. They allowed it. And they blamed the Russians. They said, oh, the Russians. These people think that you and I are thick. That's your propaganda. They did it. They've got the big thing, the thing that you can turn on and off. They only had to do that, stop all the oil. Why blow it up? It cost them billions, the Russians, to build the Nord Stream pipeline that fed Europe with cheap energy. And they blew it up and tried to blame them. This is your propaganda. And we're carrying it on here in this country. The BBC, the ITV, and I'm sitting, I watch it. I say, do people believe in this? Russophobe, what you call Russophobe. Historically, we've always hated the Russians. And do you know what I say to people? What's the Russians ever done to you? Have the Russians ever invaded us? Think about that. We've invaded them. Remember Crimea? The Crimean War, 1854. Remember the charge, 1856? Cannons to the left of them, cannons to the right of them. Rolled to 600. You ever remember that? Well, that's right. Where was and you're going back to 1856. Who was we fighting? Wasn't the Ukrainians, was it? No, it's the Russians. They fucking think that you've got no history, knowledge at all. They're just telling you now, well, fucking Ukraine never existed. only for Khrushchev. But that's all the propaganda. They expect you to believe everything. And I mean everything. And people with a brain cell just go, oh, come on, I'm not having that. But the most damaging thing the West did, being honest here, Russia and China have always been apart. They've always been, looking at one another, not trusting one another. And Joe Biden and his pathetic politics, pathetic. They really believed that they would push Russia and China further apart. They really thought that. But China, they were always going on about these Chinese. This is what they were doing. This is what Joe Biden and the Americans have been doing it for years. And they've gone like that. The Chinese. If they're doing this to Russia, Chinese are not fucking stupid. If they're doing this to Russia, we'll be next. Because they've got to over Taiwan. The Americans are saying, the fucking islands in there. Next door to China. The South China Seas. What's it got to do with the Pacific or the Atlantic? What the Americans are like? What the fuck has that got to do with America? And they've been threatening them. Yeah, you better not go into that side one. You Chinese, you. So they've been thinking, they're doing this to Russia. Provoke Russia into doing what they had to do it anyway, because they wanted to save the Russian-speaking people from genocide in the Donbass, Oblast. And they said, if they do that, they're going to start on us. So they pushed China and Russia together. And that's it, they're together now. And Xi Jinping and Putin, they're together. And they say, well, the common enemy now is the West. Not just America, but the West. See what I mean? And I can't get over Romania and with that von der Leyen. She fucking cancelled. She's not a fucking elected person. No one's elected her. She's a globalist. The likes of that George Soros, they put her in power. And she cancelled the Romanian elections. This fella, Kylan Georgescu, was well in the lead. He was going to be the next thing, all because he said, no, we're not going along with when I get in. You know the way, like your campaign. If I become president, there's no way we're taking any notice of Brussels. We're going to just concentrate on our own people. Not Ukraine. God, blimey, this has fucking started again on me. I can't believe it. It's mad. It's I'm just itchy. It's itchy. And I've got to, like, not the way you go like that, and I can't do it because it's there. Right up my nostrils. It's terrible itchy. Anyway. So that's it. That's your propaganda. And unelected people cancelling, and they arrested the man. They arrested him and said, no, you can't run now. This is von der Leyen, an unelected person, and the rest of the unelected people in Brussels. Is that democracy? They're talking about democracy. They're talking about Zelensky, giving Zelensky democracy. Oh, this democracy. We want to be the free world. What the fuck is that, the free world? Where she can cancel a Romanian election. Is that democracy? Really gets up my nose. Let's see what Gary's. Woke people are terrified of being offended or offending anyone. That's ridiculous. Of course. Of course. Of course. Edward, good self-belief that, Frank, thinking that you're a good historian. Well, I think I know my stuff. And it's not just Liverpool, by the way. It's just, you know, people say, oh, you know, I was a local historian. I'm not a local historian, I'm a historian. And I always remember, I tell you, what you see going on in town with people being brought around. I started all that. I used to bring my students around. And I only did it deliberately, you know, to get out of the, like, tutorials and things. Said, do you want to go on a historical walk with me? So they used to be made up. And I used to bring them around and I used to show them things. Now, these are like undergraduates, and they couldn't believe the history of Liverpool. And people used to see me. And people used to stand there. I'm talking about ordinary people in the street. So I started all that up. And I know you get people making it up, telling lies. I know that for a fact. Think about woke as well, when I mentioned that. Loads of bollocks of it. Loads of fucking bollocks. Russophobia, Edward, right. The red bears are, yeah. Hi, Frank. Sat in a car waiting for the missus, so I'm popping in to give you a big fat like. Thank you. Thanks, red bear. Edward, the red bear again. Red bear. Edward, the woke culture demeans all white people. This is what I know that you mentioned that last night, anti-white, and I can't get into that. It's horrible. I could be banned. I could be locked up. I could be. That's why I couldn't mention it. Sorry. All white people, we are second-class citizens in our own country, and it's only going to get worse. Yeah. Did you see you at the match? Says the red bird. See you, red bird. You're a good man. Christopher. I'll have to finish soon. Hi, Frank and everyone. Warriors is a great film. I was the first person in my school to get videoitis watching it until 3 a.m. in the morning, along with The Life of Brian. What's the Romans ever done for us? Brilliant. Democracy word is a shield. There's our Romanian friend, Big Red, Ali Noose. They use it to brainwash us all. Is this democracy? USA is the most democratic and free country. Every 20 seconds in the USA, a person is killed. If I say something, I get banned. Yeah, of course. It's not the freest country in the world. I don't think any country is, to be honest. Look at Canada. Look at that Trudeau. I seen a picture of him yesterday. It just went on, it just went. And you see this person standing next to him. And it's a woke person. And I thought, why? I can't. There's no. I can't even explain it. And is that the way we are now today? If you say anything, if you disagree with anything, you can't. You could go to prison. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. Look, I'll have to go after this comment. I'm awfully sorry. She's on the watch along. Is that democracy in Romania? Leaders who came after 1990 to create it. I know all about your corruptness there. I really do. Now every is going only how they want. If you're not with them, you are against them. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there, Ali. But this Caleb, believe it. I've read about him. I've seen sources about him. And he wants to break away from all the nonsense that's happening in Brussels and what's happening in Ukraine. He wants to break away from all that. Believe it. And you're reading propaganda, by the way. Anyway, all the propaganda that's coming out of Europe, Brussels against them is shocking. It's shocking about Georgescu. That's propaganda. Believe me. See you later. Edward, thank you. And look, I've got to go. Now, even on Twitter, you can't say what you want anymore. No, they took over Twitter as well. I believe in God, creator. Someone created this world, the masterpiece. Why God left every race in a spot. And he left you a red like us. And I'll see you later. I'm awfully sorry. I've got to go. Jason's down. Okay. See you later, boys. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I'm sorry it was a quick one. Ciao.